What is going on, guys? This is obviously Jordan here, back in another video, and today is the last day I'm going to be in this, in this room that you have come to, come to see over the last year or so. As you can see, I'm packing up, and shout out to Prosper. That's a good brand. Repping the merch right now. Shout out Prosper. I'll put the link in the description below for that. Obviously not getting paid, but yeah, whatever. And today I thought, since I'm moving out of my accommodation, I think. Like I don't know, people have been asking me about like different habits to maintain the money and obviously more like financial stuff, and I kind of had a bit of a breakthrough when I was sitting here like packing away. I'm like, oh, you know what, there are so many tricks and tips that I know as as a student, things that are I think useful for other students in my position that I think I could talk about and that you guys can benefit from. I'm going to try and be very, very quick here because, as you can see, I don't have a tripod with me. I'm using my arm as this good old arm of mine as a tripod. And I know I'm not going to be able to last 10, 20, 50, 25 minutes as my typical videos are, but let's get into it, and hopefully I can drive home with no issues after this one. So the first thing, like the very most obvious I guess habit for a student, was something that I've been trying to do since my first year, since I made that mistake in my first year, and I've learned from that ever since, is living below your means. Now, people always overestimate, like, oh, I need to have 10 hours sleep, I need to have the latest iPhone, the latest headphones, all of this. But realistically, anything that gets the job done will work. And obviously, I'm not going to say, oh, you're a bad person for this, for spending more than you need to. But it's like, spending above your means is an issue. Like, there's no need to have the latest iPhone if it means you have to spend £10 a week on food, if you're budgeting like pot noodles and stuff like that. Always make sure you have enough money to eat in all the essentials. And then if you really want to like push the barrier, be more comfortable, then again, live below your means. Where I'm living this year is like one of the cheapest, I should say, halls in Bristol. So it meant that I'm saving a lot of money. Next year I'm spending, like most people probably spend most of their student loan on the rent. Next year I'm paying like £3,000 in rent, and I'm getting like £7,000 student loan. So that goes to show, that extra £4,000 that's gonna be sitting in my pocket, obviously for food and stuff like that. But yeah, living below your means is obviously a very, very good thing. And it obviously, as I've mentioned, and as you'll probably learn yourselves, it pays dividends as well to have extra money in your pocket that you're not spending on, again, the latest iPhone. And even as I say that, the latest iPhone SE2 in my pocket. But yeah, I digress. Living below your means, that's tip number one. Tip number two is probably the most important, if not like the most valuable, I guess I can say, from this short video. But that would be to, not even what it would be to be, but it's like the idea that your network is your net worth. And what I mean by that is, if you have people in your life that are typically negative, that are bringing you down, that, maybe you say, oh, I want to go to X uni to study French. So like, oh, why do you want to do French? Why don't you do maths? Like, if you have people that complain a lot, they don't really have solutions to their problems, that, as I said, bring you down, maybe they, contrary to the first point, maybe they just spend loads of money all the time and they're always complaining that they can't afford to buy food. Like, if you have people in your life that are negative, I would just say, cut them out. Focus on the people that actually bring you value, that you can bring value to, that you can learn from, that you actually enjoy being around. And again, your network is your net worth. Having people that are high net worth or that are just good vibes, that bring you up, that are uplifting, things like that, those are the guys you want to be around. And remembering that, sometimes actually it's good to point out as well that some people don't have the access to that network. Like, it's not always easy to go and meet new people, to like go out and to do things like that. If you're in a situation that you can't really get out of, then you can still network by reading books, listening to podcasts, watching YouTube videos like this one, and just learning from other people, because you can only learn so much on your own. And if you have bad people around you, like, there's a good saying, it's called garbage in, garbage out. And what that means is everything that comes in, if it's bad, what is going to come out is also going to be bad. So yeah, improve your network, get meeting people, get reading books, and just get more positive, get more uplifted, get more educated. And yeah, again, for the final time, your network is your net worth. So the third tip, which kind of follows on more from the first point than the second one, but it's to always pay yourself first. Now, what that generally means is that you should have a budget and you should know exactly where your money's going, and you should make sure that the first chunk of your discretionary income should go to yourself. Now, to reiterate, your discretionary income is like, you have your gross income, which is like whatever, your student loan, for example. You have your net, which is after tax or national insurance, things like that. You have your disposable, which is like whatever's left there. And then discretionary is what comes after you pay your bills, your essential foods, your phone bill and all this stuff, and then that's what you have left to spend on whatever you want. Now, when I say to pay yourself first, what I mean, that this has to be explicit, I feel like, because I don't mean going to the cinema, seeing your friends, going out to eat. Because when you're going out to eat, you're spending money. You're paying Pizza Hut or Franco Manco or Burger King, or you're paying these places. You want to be paying yourself, be that by investing in yourself, buying books or saving or investing, and just having a way. You have your budget, like I talk about in my podcast. To be fair, not on this channel yet, but the 50-30-20 rule, which is 50% needs, 30% wants, and 20% savings. And it's easy to not save when you're spending your money on other things first. If you, on the day you get paid, you say, look, 20% of this is going straight into my ISA, straight into my investment account, then the money you have left, that's what you're allowed to spend. Because if you don't pay yourself first, the point is that you typically forget. And it's like, if you don't pay yourself ever, then you're going to end up in a very bad position, especially as a student, where I see loads of guys, as I said before, living off of pot noodles with £10 a week food budget. Like, if you just pay yourself, you have an emergency fund available, then when it gets to the end of the term and you're like, oh, I'm running low on money, you can just draw from that emergency pot as opposed to struggling. I mean, of course, living below your means sometimes does mean struggling, but if you're really, really starving, like, there's no need to be doing that bad when you have so many resources, living in a country like the UK, for example. So the fourth point, again, there's only two more points, but the fourth one is to have big long-term goals. Now, most people that come to uni typically have long-term goals anyway, because obviously your course is 3 or 4 years, or up to like 7 if you're doing architecture. But having long-term goals, and specifically SMART goals, if you're not familiar with what SMART means, it's like specific, measurable, I can't remember, I always forget what A means, but it's like things that not reliable. Oh my days, I should have done the research before quoting it. But essentially, you want to have goals that you can have a measurable time frame and that are actually achievable. So in short, it's like, instead of saying I want to lose weight, you say I want to lose 15 pounds, but that's a lot of weight to lose. But you say I want to lose 15 pounds by December. So at that point, to be fair, 15 pounds isn't achievable, so the A there will be messed up. But you say, I don't know, I want to lose 2 kg before Christmas, right? So now you have December 25th is your time-bound date. It's specific because you say I want to lose exactly 2 kg. It's achievable because you can do it. It's measurable because each month you can say I want to lose, 500 grams per month until December. That way you can track if you've actually made that target. And then, that's essentially it. You want to have a goal that you can actually work towards, you can track over time, and is achievable. So when it comes to university, people just say I want to graduate. But what you should be saying is I want to get, a 2-1 or a 2-2, or by the end of next week, I want to have done 6 past papers, or whatever however it is. But it's making sure your goals are specific and time-bound and measurable and achievable and realistic. And, I guess it's kind of easier said than done, but just thinking twice about your goal-making process and how what your actual process is going to be as you're studying here is very, very important, because it's quite easy to, put off work, to put off getting a job, to just overspend and to not think about things if you have no way of tracking where you are week by week, month by month, or even better, will be day by day. So having long-term goals, having specific goals, and fundamentally for most people, it literally is just having goals, because some people, as I said, just get into uni and see where they go from there. Like, it is important to have steps and then to achieve those steps while you study. So the fifth and final tip now would be to smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. And now that I finally got that out of the way after this whole video of waiting, it would be to take risks and then to learn from those risks, to learn from those failures that are almost inevitable if you don't take calculated risks. So I know that this last point is probably a bit contrary to everything I said so far. Like, you should live below your means. You should always be tactical up until this point. But people don't really realize that when you're young, you can afford to open up an investment account and just stick all of it in an index fund. You can afford to, to be fair, an important word that I did miss out there is calculated. Don't just make dumb decisions. Make educated guess. Do the research first, and then have an idea of what you're getting into. Like, a risk, for example, for me would be starting a YouTube channel in the first place, starting a podcast, investing, just doing things that may not pay off, but that at least I know that I'm going to learn things along the way, be it video editing, be it podcast editing, be it understanding of finances and personal finances that I can go and talk about to you guys on this channel, and just having skills that may not necessarily apply to everyday life, But 9 times out of 10, I think Steve Jobs might have said this, that you can only connect the dots looking backwards. You can't connect dots as you go through it. You have to look back, and then things will make sense. And it's like, you never really know when these skills will come in handy. And even if these skills never do come in handy, even if this podcast, this channel never really blow up, at least I've had fun doing it, and it's a nice hobby to have, and it's a nice story to tell my friends and things like that. So having the initiative, I guess, to take risks, and also having the motivation to get educated and to understand the limits of these risks, and then learning from that if they fail, or pushing through to succeed as well, is the most important thing to me, I guess, as a student. Because as I haven't really mentioned enough yet, but while you're here at uni, you have no other responsibilities. You have basically free money from your student loan, and it's like, when it comes to working, you have to work. You can't just not show up on a Monday for work. But if you wanted to, you can afford to not show up to Monday lectures and just catch up later. Like, you have a lot of free time, you have a lot of opportunities here, a lot of resources, a lot of great people to network with. Like, just take the opportunities. Take the opportunities while they're here. Take the risks while you can afford to take them. And hopefully, at the end of all of this, by following those 5 tips and by hitting the subscribe button below, we're all going to be a bit better off. I realized when I got back and I was editing, like literally a week ago, I was editing this. I was like, you know what? For the sake of my protecting my arms, like, I tried to cut loads of bits out. But I realized that in an attempt to be concise, I ended up skipping over some very, very important bits that I think are very good and very useful, little tidbits of advice. So just to go back over, like, I guess 3 additional points that I didn't bring up before, I'm going to bring it up now, and then this will be like a double episode at the end, next week, after this week, that I didn't post on. So the first thing that I missed out, that I think is super important, is while you're young, while you're a student, a teenager, while you have time on your hands, get a job. Like, that's such a underrated piece of advice for young people growing up that are looking for financial stability and stuff like that, because there's only 3 real ways to earn money in this world. Sell your time, i.e., get a job, or run a service or something. Sell a product, or like sell like other people. Okay, I don't know. There is another one, but I've lost it. Okay, physical products is one, and then digital products would be another one, where you kind of just like, you make something and sell it 1,000,000 times over. And then I guess the final thing, I don't know. There's a bunch of ways to make money, but fundamentally, when it comes to jobs, you're basically selling your time for money. And getting a job, either be it like at a supermarket, in retail, as I said, like a service. Let's say you're good at programming or making websites, you can be like a freelance website designer. Having a job, having a source of money is the best thing you can do while you're young, because not only does it give you, of course, money, but you get experience to put on your CV, you get just responsibilities that you don't really get until you're older. Because if you've never really worked before, you've just been going to school, you're not really responsible for anything, you're never really going to learn those skills on your own. So there are loads of benefits to working as a student or as a young person in general. And I think for me, getting a job has helped me organize my time. Like, I knew from Saturday, like 6 until whenever, I was going to be working. So I just took, I made that effort to do my work outside of those hours. And it's just good to have structure and to be organized. The second thing that kind of comes with getting a job, but it's also very important, and I kind of touched on it before in addressing living below your means, but I think what's important is to avoid lifestyle inflation. Lifestyle inflation is like when you start making more money, you start spending more money. Like when you're young, I did this a lot as well. I did this when I was young. I started working in retail, and suddenly I got interest in clothes. I started buying new shoes. I got like a leather backpack. I got all this like cool stuff that for me was cool, and obviously at the time it's interesting, but it's all materialistic. None of it's really, really important. And now that I'm older, all of that stuff's either I've grown out of it or the bag broke, and all these things that it's all short term, it's all unnecessary. And it's like, the goal is to avoid those things, to make sure that if you're spending like £80 a week, £20 a week, £30 a week now, at whatever point in life you are, and this transcends age, this could be anyone, like age 60 or 40, 30. If you're spending like X amount per week, and you suddenly get a bonus, or you get a raise, or you get a new job that pays you more, or you start selling stuff on eBay or something, you get a side hustle, like, it's important to not add that money into your outcome and just leave that on its own, and then keep your outcome the same. And then, of course, if you want to get a bigger house at some point, or a bigger car, or a new TV, that's fine. But make sure that you don't inflate your whole lifestyle and adjust to the new normal of now you're getting paid more, you can spend more. Like, make sure that you save a big part of that money, because it's like you've been living on this level for so long. Why is it suddenly you need more now that it's available? Just have that mindset that you have what you need, and it's just about improving general stuff, and then that's generally a better way to go about things. And yeah, avoiding lifestyle inflation. The final point, which I think is super, super important, that I don't think, well, I never learned this, and I was always told not to do this until I did my own research, and a lot of my friends also still don't do this. But one of them, if not even one of the most important things you can do, because it's so easy as well, is just to get a credit card, to start building your credit score. If I got a credit card like 2 years sooner, my score is so much better. And you might be thinking now, like, oh, what's a credit score? It doesn't really matter. I can build it later, yada, yada, yada. And to be fair, I should probably make a video separately another time about the innings and outings of the whole credit score like thing as a bubble. But the quicker you get your credit score up, there's so many benefits to it. Like if you want to rent a car, finance a car, for example, you need to have a good credit score. I was lucky to get, well, to be fair, this one I bought outright, but I wanted to upgrade this car last year because this one had problems and I couldn't because my credit score was too low. Because as I said, I didn't get a credit card early enough. If I'm trying to move out, for example, it's going to be hard to get a good mortgage rate or a good rental rate with my score so low. Oh, well, to be fair, it's pretty decent now, but in the past it would have been difficult to do. And it's like, credit card, you can also get store cards. Like I know some stores, Argos, have like a store card, which basically it's a credit card that you use at that store. But having something to boost your credit score is so, so important. Because as I said, lower interest rates. And I mean, to be fair, that's the main thing. That's the main thing. You get lower interest and you get access to more deals, be it financing, loans, mortgages, insurance, things like that. And it could even be a small thing. Like if you're young, as I said, teenagers, students, young people, most of us, our parents are paying for our phone bills, our phone contracts like every month. If you now want to start your own contract and upgrade on your own name, you're going to need to have a good credit score for that. And there are so many small things that you don't really appreciate or realize why you're not spending money each month, why you're not using credit, why you're not using any loans or financing. But these things are super important when you get older, and it's very, very important. Like, if there's anything you can take away from this video, is to get, maybe not necessarily a credit card, but to look at your credit score and focus on developing it and growing it, because it will reap dividends when you're older, when you're, later on in life. Because it takes so long. If you get a credit card like a month before you get a house because you want to like build your score, it's going to go down. Like your score actually goes down in the short term. And I mean, there's a lot of nuances to it. I think I will actually just make a separate video about credit scores. But yeah, fundamentally, look at your credit score, get a credit card, be disciplined with it. Don't just get one and not spend money all willy-nilly. But yeah, that's basically it. My 3 asterisk epilogue points, a quick recap, is like getting a job, avoiding lifestyle inflation, and looking at and improving your credit score while you can. These are the 3 final tips, along with the other 5, I think, or 6 I put out before, to to be better with your personal finances. And yeah, back to the video. I don't know. I don't even remember how I ended the previous one. So let me just pretend to end it here, assuming that I didn't end it in the last one, and then we'll call it a day. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment if you have any questions or suggestions. And as of right now, that's it from me. Peace.